we're going to try and get some wheels turning, get the steering. So we want the front gear to turn, and the first thing we'll do is go ahead and extras, pull out the external aircraft. I just like it on there so I don't have to far into. And we're going to pull out some more code. See where I'm at. I did some stuff overnight or off camera. I want to make sure. I just applied some extra textures and gauges. Just finished up that and fixed the windshield in another video. Okay, perfect. So we have just our basic thing we're going to add to this. So we'll go to the component, and again we want to stay inside the behaviors. So we're going to go to the last part of this one, which is that component, and we'll drop a base there, and we're going to go to this one, and we're looking at again. We're in the landing gear entire this section here. This one, these top three are for the gear itself. Gear, tire. These are the ones we're going to want. Now we only have a center, a right, and a left. So we'll go ahead, right and a left. We'll go ahead and take all of these. Notice it's in gear ID, so we don't have a gear ID. Okay, let's do like we always. Let's just take the whole thing, and that's from component to component. So we have the top and bottom, and we'll drop that right here. And I like it to add it up. Might line it up. It's not lined up right, so we're gonna line it up. This is not necessary, especially when I'm going to delete half of it. I need to stop and delete. I can't delete it while I got to get it back to where it's readable before I can delete it. I'll get confused. Why I make sure they're all lined up the right way, because oh, there we go. Is that right? Okay, that's the way I like it. You can set these. They don't have to be. Hell, they can be on one long line all the way from start to finish. So but you can. This is going to be actually. Let's put it below here. Good. We're going to put notations for different components, even different parts of this gears. This one is going to be for tire and wheel animation. And so we're going to get rid of all the gear for now. We'll bring them back in when we get to them. Okay. And we have a left, right, and center. So we get rid of the back one from open to close. There's the three we're gonna work with right there. Actually, just for fun, this is unnecessary. I'm gonna put the top one at the top, or the center one at the top, just because I just did me. Somewhat neurotic. All right. So those are our three pieces of code right there. 1, 2, 3. That's each three wheel. These are important. This is our animation, but remember nodes, that means I have to actually name this name. So that's where it's going to be a little bit tricky. And again, this becomes this data becomes kind of our roadmap for animation. So we're going to get started on the animations. Now, something else you may notice is that it does have nodes. It's got a still and a blur. Well, obviously, our model doesn't. I should have left that. Our model doesn't even have a blur. So we're and I do want to show that. I want to set that up. So we're going to have to borrow that. So actually, let's do that. Let's first go borrow us some blurs. Because this is kind of, for me, how do you make one? And when you're just getting started, I was just like, I don't want to learn, 800 different specific files that then I couldn't figure out how to use. I'm in the 2.9, which allows me to import. Going into my official folder, and any aircraft will do, right? Let's go with the 152 because frankly it's probably the closest. Our aircraft had turned out a little smaller for a four-seater. So we'll import the exterior model because one that'll have the part. Okay, and right wheel blurred. Cool. Control C for copy. Object. Just go into 3.1. Kind of making this up as I go along, so apologize. Control V. Right wheel black. Geometry. It spawned in. This is right wheel. So let's just move it over to the right, I guess. Left wheel. There it is. Left wheel blurred. Control C. E. Wheel. So there's our wheel blurs. We'll just select all. Actually, get rid of this one. Don't save. Now we have 3 of these. You could actually save this as a blur if you wanted to pull it in later. Now notice I didn't bring the texture. So I mean, I'm not. If you wanted to actually use these in a product, I don't see anything wrong with them. You're not actually. If you make your own texture, that's the artistic part. All this is a mesh. It's a Blender mesh with a certain properties. Or go into edit mode and create a new, mesh and build your own, however you want to do it. Anyway, let's go open our aircraft model. And like I said, I have actually reset some of the dash. You notice none of my all my gauges or textures are set. I fixed the windows. Oh, and I closed the doors. That's something you might doing just off camera. Alright, so we're now ready to copy in our components. All at once. Control C. This may be a mistake. Move them all at once. Down here. Alright, now this is kind of an extra setup. It's not really are all of those set to? Well, we're just gonna do our best to place this right on top of the other one. Or actually right inside the other. The way the blurs work is they don't, I mean, it's kind of unusual because they don't actually show most of the time. They only show when the game, in other words, the game dynamically shows or not shows. and depending on the rotational speed of this wheel is when they show certain parts of the of it. Doing it too big? Yeah, let's call it good. Since we don't have it, I don't know how well this is going to look. This is going to look like, I'm not going to lie. But it'll show the effect, and that's what. Now, I'm not going to bother doing the texture. We're just trying to show the coding and how it works. So we'll get there. Getting them reasonably close for this same purpose. I mean, the same thing through this whole tutorial. You should probably be doing a lot better than I've been as far as lining things up and getting things working. A deer project, you know, opposed to just a tutorial. You would certainly want to do a little better a job. I'm probably doing most things. And like this, I would do a lot more as far as making it fit. The tire that I stole appears to be fatter when I size it up to here, you know, to the right height. It's a little fatter than be, and that should all be adjusted and whatnot. But you don't want it the identical same size, and that's what I was saying about the game engine. Depending, will make is what they'll do is they'll hide the still and then show the blur at a certain uh, point. And is what that does is it gives it a really good effect. Same with the props. Okay, so now we've got our blurs. Let's go ahead and save that. Got our blurs positioned. We're ready to start animating. So the first thing, let's get that thing going. Set origin to geometry. Shift S. Cursor to selected. Okay. Add an empty. And this now that we got the we're basically, I'm going to set up the animations so that it triggers both of them at the same time, and that's the only reason. This empty is just I call it, in fact I'm going to name it a controller, because that's what it's going to do. It's going to control it. So I'm going to, and I'm just using, this is basically how I'm going to set it up. I'll get to this. And I know this is probably incorrect. I won't lie. Actually, I need this we'll call the center wheel controller. Alright, and then we're actually gonna create a second one right there. We're going to have two of them right at the same spot. Only this one we're going to call the center steering controller. So one of them is going to control the steering, and one of them is going to control the wheel animation. And now that we've named them both similarly, we should find them right there together. Okay. So first, we need the wheel blurred, yeah, and the wheel center, or the wheel controller. We'll parent those. Plain parent. Did that work? Or did it go? It went the wrong way. No, it didn't. Okay. Now we need center wheel blurred. Central wheel. See, this is the wrong name. This is what I don't know where that name. These names. Surely it didn't unparent, right? Parent. My mouse is messing up if you've seen. I don't know what I did now. Put my glasses on for sure. I'm losing it. I wish these scroll. I mean, my mouse is messing up, but so I can't use my center scroll very good. It hangs up and causes, and so I'm having to you know use these scroll bars. And well, these scroll bars are becoming less and less useful as they. Where is that? Center wheel controller. You'd think it'd be right in there, huh? Okay, yeah. That's what happened. I parented it backward. Alright, let's undo that. So we select the object, select the center wheel. There we go. Now, I wanted the center wheel blur, and like I said, I want to rename these as soon as I can, and I'm matching this pattern right here. And like I say, I'm going wrong because I'm just going to tie it to the rudder. And the reason is I've tried these. This is the default template for it, and there's something I'm missing. Probably something stupid, silly. So we're going to do it just a little bit different, and I'm sure it's incorrect. Okay, that's the blur. Now we need the probably that's the regular. Has to be. Here's the problem. His stuff isn't renamed yet here. So we'll take that and then control to that. Center wheel controller. Okay. I hope that's the center wheel. Has to be. Yeah, well, everything's connected, so I guess we did it right. So that is the other wheel. So that's tire center still, according to my little sheet there. But that, and it has to be named correctly because we're calling for that name specifically right here. Tire center blur, tire center still. Those two names have to match. Those are our nodes. And then as you see, we're gonna have the center controller with the animation. All right. So yeah, that with the animation. Now that we're on the controller, it's just a 360. Yeah, we'll pop one in at 0. We'll go to 50. You don't have to. I break these 360s into 50 just up and see I'm rolling the wrong way. Undo. In other words, I just do the 50s because I want to make sure it doesn't misunderstand my numbers, go the wrong way. I mean, just the way I do it. Probably not. So I'll drop one at 50 and connect them. We'll go to 100. We'll just do about 50 again. And again, this is an example. You would want to use these numbers and get it exact, more exact, I would think. I'm just trying to get it to where it shows. Okay, so now we wait a minute. Why is it showing a bias? Do that before? Yeah, I think it's going the wrong way. I think it's going halfway through and then going halfway back. So we'll reset. I probably did that wrong. I keep turning it. I'm on the wrong side of the wheel, I think. All right. Counterclockwise, halfway, roughly. Start over. Unfortunately, if I grab it here, it'll probably grab the wrong axis. So you can't really use those lines to help you get at your 50. Okay, set that. Yeah, I bet that's what I did. I bet I actually turned it backward the second time. I'm used to going the other way. Go 50 again. Set it again. Why isn't that? Isn't that linear? Okay, now that looks right. Something that whole wheel is out of whack. Alright. And that's tire C and M according to our code here. That's this one. Now that's our rotation. Now the front one, and we'll do the same thing on both the back ones. Obviously, we would do the exact same thing, and you want to be sure to Shift S, cursor to selected. That way, when you set your empties, and we're only going to need one empty on these, so we'll add an empty. Actually, I'm not going to mess with that. Let's undo. We'll go to that after we get through with the steering. Since we've already started this and we have a second controller, and all we have to do is set up one more animation to get steering work. Let's see if that, because this is kind of buggy for me. Sometimes it doesn't work right for me, and I'm sure it's because of okay, now we want to set this up. So this one just has the animation, and this one tied to it. So if we pick that one, then that one. Oh, okay, now this one we want to control P, and we want to parent keep transforms. This is an important part. And then when you get done, you want steering at the top, controller underneath. We're going to select the steering controller. This is going to be a bias, standard bias. I'm going to uncheck that one just for fun. This is going to be a standard bias, so we'll start at the 50. Set a control thing, and then is that Z? So we'll start left first. Let's say it's got a 50 degrees. I'm just making up the number. That didn't matter. We'll go to 0 and 50. Yeah, and we'll set a mark. I'm just making up these numbers. There we go. Now we're going to go to 100. Minus 50. Smack that one in there. Okay. Put that at 50. Throw that one up there. And this one is kind of where I'm using the incorrect cheat. Rather than setting this to the correct stuff that they give us, I'm just going to tie it to the rudder. And like I say, I'll do a supplementary as soon as I figure out a better way to do this. But that's it. That should give us the front wheel steering. And I mean, it looks funky, but let's just check it. Let's enable both of them, and just, yeah. So you can see it's rotating around the other axis, but still turning. So that looks right here. Go ahead and do at least one of these to test, since we have that here. So that takes care of the front one. We have two helpers. This one we only need one helper. So we'll add a helper. This is why, because I'm having to scroll up and down, and with mouse it's hard to do. That's why I wanted to do these. Call this right wheel controller. So we'll add our blur. Our other right wheel controller. Find the right wheel controller. And correctly entered. We got to rename those to tire right still. At this point, these are these become our nodes. That's why they have to be named correctly, because they're now the node. In other words, that one, even though it was correct for some other code somewhere, for some other person setup, it wasn't correct for ours, and it's got to match these nodes. I did that wrong. Damn it. It's the bar. It's this. All right. So I got those named, and there. So that's it. So then all we need is the animation for this rotational. It'll be just 360 degree. And again, I'm not doing exactly 100% 360s or anything. I'm just doing enough. Roll it the way it's gonna roll in the game. Ah, resets it the moment I move. Yeah, roll it the way it's gonna roll in the game. That. Act. Same thing again, 50%. You can go 100% and do the same thing, you know, all the way around. Okay. That may be better, even if you drop one in the center after the fact. That probably would be a better way to go. Alright, and this one we're going to throw in, and we're done with our little cheat sheet. So what are we doing? Right wheel. There, right anim. What we need. Yeah, right there. Right wheel controller, tire right anim. That one's done. Huh. Ah. Back over here where I was, I think. Moving wrong stuff here. I'm sure there's better ways. I need to figure out some better control. Alright, origin to center. Need to, I don't need, got the controller with Shift S. Cursor to selected. That's just so when I drop this empty, it always drops on your cursor. So I want it to drop right there. Alright, and we'll go left wheel controller with that one. Find it. Okay, left wheel controller. Now we gotta find that left. Well, not really. It's gonna be his common empty. Alright, now we need to find. Okay, now we need to correct our names. Higher left still. It's gonna be his oddball name. That one first. Make sure we right the first time. There we go. Or a name that's different in our code. I could go the other way. In other words, I could change that and put that here, and it'd do the same thing. Just so long as they match. I mean, since we stole this from, or borrowed this from a different aircraft, they don't match. So we got to clear them. All right, now we just need our animation. Start one at 0. For time. And I'm just gonna eyeball it for this. See? Good. Yeah, that looks like it. So throw that up there. And the last one that we have is tire left. Now that should work. That should give us both steerable. Well, I got it disabled. Steerable front wheel and wheels that rotate. Right. Yeah. Now, like I said, you might want to save these, create some textures that are yours and adjust them to size for your area. To me, borrowing a mesh or the properties basically is what I'm borrowing. That's what I'm getting. Isn't the same as like borrowing the artwork or the texture. But anyway, whether you get them there, make your own, figure out how to make your own, that's up to you. Alright, so we created, we built the model, we're ready to burn the project and give her a test. See, I did all that right. And this is the introduction into those empties. We're going to be using those quite prolifically. And did I even set that? Yeah, I did set it to rudder. Like I said, that's actually probably not correct. And in fact, this is what you're supposed to be from my the steering template. But I've had issues. I can't say I've got it to work once or twice, but it's one of those I don't know exactly what it's doing or why, and so it's hard for me to try and troubleshoot. And then I was like sitting there trying to figure out one late at night, and I'm like, you know what? All I need is for it to follow that dang rudder. And so I plugged in the rudder control animation since we already have that, and it worked. So that's why I use it. I will as soon as I figure out what it is that I'm missing on the actual code. I'm gonna grab some. I will make a supplemental and do it that way. I'm sure there's some legitimate reasons that doing it my way is not good. So eventually that's going to come back and bite me, I imagine. Let me go grab some coffee. I'm really hoping that the only difference or the only thing that's going to matter is for like your bigger airlines that have a separate steering control. I mean, for small aircraft, I can't see any reason why tying the steering to the rudder would cause an issue, but there's a lot of stuff I don't understand in this game. For the purpose of this video, I wasn't really happy because when I started doing it, I realized, oh wait, I've been kind of doing a cheat or a hack here because I couldn't get the official stuff to work right. And as I say, I have to think it's me. And okay, and one of the things I did change on it was I changed the name. So now it shows up as a Technum. I say it does. Huh. Does it show up at all? There's the diamond. No, I guess I must have reset that. I did that, so yeah. Okay, well, anyway. And we'll just load right into a runway so we can check the rotation.
Kilo Golf Oscar, Kilo Traffic November, 246 Alpha Tango, taking off runway tree for straight out departure.
We got some weather. What's all this coming up for? Alright. Wheel straight. Oh, see, I never did fix the lights. And as you can see, it rotates with our rudder. That's good. And the question is, get it moving. That's the trouble here. There we go. And you can see it go to the blur. See how it goes so that you can see the inside of the wheel. I'll slow down. And it goes back to the regular wheel. So there we go. That actually did, let's see, just one more. And yeah, see, it turns and rotates at the same time. Everything's good. Well, that was a successful little venture. Like I said, there probably will be a supplemental whenever I figure out how to use the actual code that they give you. I do have that code on my notes. Well, not that one. That's something I pulled out of something else. This is what should make it work. And of course, then we'd have to add this extra code that we don't have. But anyway, that will work, and that gets us one step further with the steering. The next one will actually make them retract, which is going to be another. Well, I'll do it right here in just a minute, and that's pretty simple, basic. I mean, you have doors and everything to assign to it, but it's nothing hard. And I'll see you soon. Hope you have a great day.